Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Too Good to Be True podcast, bonus real talk. I'm your host, Pascal Mayala. It's been a week that I did not do my podcast because I took a little bit of vacation. But tomorrow we will talk about the full podcast, and also we will also cover the Olympics in Paris. So stay tuned and follow my podcast everywhere you can listen. But before we talk about this subject, I want you guys to like, subscribe, notify, and leave your comment on my YouTube channel, Too Good to Be True podcast. And you can listen to this podcast on Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and any platform you can listen where you can go and listen to this podcast. Now, let's get to the topic. Today we will talk about in this real talk Gilbert Arenas. We're not going to talk about the basketball player. We're going to talk about what happened and what comment that he did. And people are asking, what comment? Well, he made a comment on South Sudan after Team USA won against South Sudan about of 1 point doing this exhibition. And I don't do exhibition. I don't talk about exhibition. But Gilbert Arenas comment was pretty much an xenophobic when he's talking about South Sudan. And his comment really, really hurts a lot of the NBA, a lot of the peers, and it hurts also the African people. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to this comment of Gilbert Arenas.
Almost lost to some Africans. Yeah, we almost lost to them. And the king had to save. The king had to save us. I know the LeBron haters are mad. We almost lost to the Ahi tribe. This is crazy. Man, Embiid over there, goddamn throwing the game. He throwing the game for his cousins and shit. We're supposed to be losing to air up there. Come on, man. Cool Runnings. We're not supposed to lose to the Cool Runnings team. They don't even have shoes. They get their shoes from America. We got to ship them shoes. They don't even have basketball rims, though. Manu Bull, I seen he had to walk, an hour and a half to go shoot basketball. We losing to people who don't even, they got baskets in the back. They shooting on fucking peach baskets in dirt, no shoes.
So you heard what Gilbert Arenas said, and this comment is very xenophobic. And one thing for sure, that not only he insulted the African people, he insulted the NBA community, because basketball is a global game. Basketball is played in the whole world. Yes, Team USA beat South Sudan in 1 point. But Gilbert, when you have a platform like your podcast, and that you have a following, by the way, on your podcast, the Gil Arena, and a lot of those fans follow you on social media, you got to be very careful what you're saying, because the more you say something like that, the more you're going to hurt the people. And now that the whole world heard that, and I'm glad that the people stood up against Gilbert Arenas, because that wasn't funny. It was arrogant, xenophobic, and out of touch. Because why you want to insult a country like South Sudan, which I did not know that they got if the youngest country in the world, which I did not know that. And Luang Deng, a former NBA player, created this team with his own money. Can you imagine if Luang Deng listened to that comment? And I don't think he did listen to this comment, because if he did, he will be disappointed. He will be very disappointed about this comment, because he's from South Sudan. He invested that team so much to be in this position. Royal Ivy, the coach of South Sudan, who's Kevin Durant's former team in Texas, accepted that role as a coach and see the Luol Deng vision. Not only that, there's a lot of South Sudan who are playing in the NBA. I mean, the one who played with the Lakers, I know he got cut, and he was trying to play for the Boston, he got cut. He's from South Sudan, and I know everybody know what I'm talking about. What about Thon Maker? He's from South Sudan, former NBA player. Bobo, he's from South Sudan. His dad, legendary Manu Bo, he's from South Sudan. I mean, what are we doing right here? What are we doing? I mean, there's no place for this comment in the NBA. And also, just bring about the NBA. The NBA also expanded in Africa. I don't think Gilbert Arenas knows. Or maybe he didn't do his research. But the NBA Africa, when some former NBA and young NBA players go to Africa to teach those young boys and girls how to play basketball. So that's very ignorant. Joel Embiid says something about Gilbert Arenas' comment. I want you guys to listen to this. I want you guys to listen to this, and then I'll come back.
Obviously, I don't condone it. I'm African, first and foremost. I might be playing for Team USA, but I'm Cameroonian. First and foremost. So, I don't know exactly what I said, so I can't comment on it. But if it was not negative, it's just disappointing. Because you see what African basketball has done, for us to be in this position, to be able to make some sort of impact. Even in the position that I am, I still have a lot of impact, where I'm from in the whole continent of Africa, and that's never going to stop. So, like I said, it's really unfortunate, and especially in the world we live in now, so much negativity, and
So you heard what Joel Embiid said. I applaud Joel Embiid what he said, because there's no place like this in a world with a lot of negativity. And think about what Joel Embiid said. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, all those guys influence younger generation. Not just in the United States, but in all around the world. Don't you think they're influenced by Kobe Bryant? God rest his soul. Don't you think they're not influenced by Michael Jordan? Don't you think they're not influenced by LeBron James? So stuff like that, we have to be very, very, very careful what are we saying, especially if you have a platform like Gilbert Arenas, who's a former NBA player, He got a lot of following on his podcast and his on X, formerly Twitter, on Instagram. Imagine if Team USA lost. I just want to hear that. I want to listen to this. Imagine if Team USA lost to South Sudan. That would be a bigger story. And people from South Sudan or around the world will mock the American. And you will now be appreciative about that. But stuff like that, we have to be careful. But one TikToker responded to Gilbert Arenas' comment on his comment about the South Sudan. I want you guys to listen to this, and I'll be back.
USA, do you talk about them like that? But to look down at successful African men who may have come from poverty, but that changed their lives around and became someone. And for you to look down at them, this guy there is playing, he didn't have shoes. And then you're laughing as well. And you're there saying, we almost lost the Africans. I mean, the ignorance, bro. Like, you would have felt like this is a member of the KKK talking that. You understand? If you didn't know this guy was black. If you just heard the audio, you would have felt like this was some racist from deep down somewhere there in America, blood. Yeah? That still can't comprehend that in 2024, black people and all colored people, yeah, have their rights. And they are human beings. And that you are not better than them. And this is how he's talking down to Africans. I'm disgusted, bro. You understand? Like, it's not a joking matter. Like I said, I can understand. The USA should be dominating Sudan. We understand because USA, because America, we all know the NBA is the highest level when it comes to basketball. You understand? That's where all the best players go to play. And there's a lot of Africans, even in the USA team. Joel Embiid is from Cameroon, lads. Yeah? He's from Cameroon, who's representing the USA. Just because some of these African players represent some European teams or the USA basketball team does not mean all of them are not proud to be Africans, bro. But like I said, man, don't talk down on Africans if you've never been there. And this is the problem with some of these Americans. You get me? I've got love for a lot of American people, but these type of Americans, these are the guys that Dr. Uma's talking about. These are the guys that you know what they're on, bruv. You understand? Will sell their brothers the moment they get the opportunity to with that kind of talk. And this, I'm disappointed. This is a guy I listen to. You know, I feel like, interesting guy. Good podcast. Different dynamics there, but this has made me feel sick.
You heard what he said. Shout out to this TikToker. I believe his name is JP Kima. Yeah, JP Kima. Shout out to him. If he had time to listen to the podcast, I applaud what he said because it is true. Stop making fun of African people. I will say this. Stop looking down on African people. Because they are human beings just like you and me, just like other people. And they have life too. They have a issue like American people too. Even though Africa have their issue like the rest of the world, it's not really shown. But remember, people like Gilbert Arenas, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James are influenced a lot of these African players to one day dream to come to the NBA. And for that, I recommend that Gilbert Arenas do your research about South Sudan. And one thing he did not, I said it a couple of minutes ago, that Luol Deng invested this team and to be in this position to be on the Olympics. Think about who he has to beat. They beat Angola. Angola to qualify to the Olympics. And I'll say this is personal for me. If I hear comment like this, I'll be offended. If Luan Deng listen to this comment, I don't think you will appreciate it. Let's be honest. But this is where the world's come to right now. In this day and age, 2024, we have to be careful what you're saying, especially when you have a platform like Gilbert Arenas. Paul, and before we continue, Paul Pierce did talk about xenophobic on South Sudan, making fun of them on Undisputed, but a couple of minutes later, Gilbert Arenas made an apology. So I want you guys to listen to Paul Pierce's apologies, and I'll come back and let's conclude with this this bonus real talk.
To South Sudan for the disrespect.
Here we go.
That I've given them, not having any knowledge about their team or their country. So, right off the bat, I'd like to apologize that. I think a lot of my talk came off of the spread was 40 points. So, I've never seen a 40-point spread in a game. So, but, I like to bring some things to light because South Sudan has some players that could possibly be playing in the NBA. And, I had a chance to watch, sorry if I get you guys' name wrong, Winyan Gabriel.
So you listen to what Paul Pierce said. Shout out to Paul Pierce. At least he's owning it like a man. If you don't know what you're talking about, don't say nothing. Because one day you don't know what that person is going to be. And you can also influence a lot of young generation who wants to be part of playing the NBA. So, to conclude with that, Gilbert Arenas should be careful what he's saying. And I believe he's just to notice that Gilbert Arenas is his parent from Cuba, which I did not know that. That makes it even worse. And I can see the people were cheering for Gilbert Arenas on any platform saying, yeah, Gilbert, go get him. And found out that his parent was from Cuba and he's Cuban, and people were rejecting him. So this is why we have to be careful. So this is the real talk of Too Good to Be True podcast. I am Pascal Mayala. If you want to follow me on social media, follow me on Instagram, Pascal_Mayala_15. On X, formerly Twitter, at Belly versus PMM. On Thread is Pascal_Mayala_15. If you want to listen to this podcast, you can listen to it on Spotify, on the Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Castbox, any platform you can listen. Or you can listen to this on my YouTube channel, Too Good to Be True podcast. And you guys do me a favor. We have 15 to subscribe on my YouTube channel, and I want more than 15 subscribe. So subscribe, like, notify, leave your comment under my video or in the community that will post, because your comment means a lot to me. So that being said, thank you very much, and goodbye.